got something really special in the mail about 2 weeks ago, and it has been sitting there making cute eyes at me and come hithering me for just as long. And I'm so excited. I've just finished my regular sketchbook. Just finished this like 2 days ago, and I'm ready to start a new one. I'm thinking it's going to be my everything book. And I'll explain a bit more about what an everything book is to me. But first, let me introduce you to this. This is a beautiful journal. It's called an onion skin journal from the company The Onion Skin Journal. Now they sent this to me as a gift to try out and to show you all what it's all about. I'm so excited. Isn't that pretty? It's got this lovely like cut oak log print impression in the front, and it's this lovely rich terracotta brown color, which I love, one of my favorites. So basically the gist of this is that the paper is onion skin paper, which means it's exceptionally thin. However, it's quite strong. And apparently it's really good with ink, holding ink, doing ink pen paintings and watercolor paintings and stuff like that inside. I'm so excited to get into it. It comes with this line or dotted paper guide, so you can slot it in underneath to, if you're writing, to, you know, stay in a straight line. It's so pretty, it's so pretty, I'm so excited. Yay, let's try it out, shall we? I want to start with some swatches and stuff, and I'm going to talk about what an everything book is, and probably why you should have one as well, because they're amazing. Okay, let's do it. As you can see, the pages are really smooth, really thin. They give me a little bit of like tracing paper vibes and feels, but they don't have that thick waxiness to them at the same time. They're more like pages of Bibles, you know, really old Bibles that were printed on really thin paper. Anyway, feels like that. So I'm excited to get into trying a few different techniques and mediums. So I'm going to start with these inks, which I got recently from Lousy Ink. And I'm also going to be using one of my favorite things, the glass dip pen. So I'm just going to start with some swatching. I'm going to play with different opacities, mixing in a little bit of water just to see how well it bleeds and how the paper handles the ink and stuff. And using my dip pen, I just want to like test if there's any weird ink bleeding stuff that goes on. Sometimes that can be to do with the ink itself rather than the actual paper. But this lovely green ink is beautiful and it's working really nicely on the paper. I'm having a really fun time drawing with this color. Yeah. You can see that the paper does crinkle up a bit when wet mediums are used on it, which I'm okay with because I like my sketchbooks to be kind of messy and crinkly and have textures and that sort of thing. If you're someone who has a bit more of a perfectionist quality to your work, or you like it to be nice and clean and stuff, then maybe don't use as much wet media in your onion skin journal, or if you do, make it like a little thicker, less watery. But yeah, I am very pro crinkle page. It's like, it almost feels like really thin biscuits, like wafer biscuits. I noticed some of the like slightly thicker inks, it bled a little bit, but that's also fine by me. Sometimes it's a little bit annoying, but yeah, I think that's just the inks thing, not the sketchbooks thing. If I used a different paper, that ink would be perfect. Whereas calligraphy ink, it doesn't have any like thickening agents to it, which a lot of the inks that have this pastel look about them, they have a bit of a white, they have this like thickening feel to them. Yeah, they're a little bit different to calligraphy ink, but the calligraphy ink was beautiful and it didn't really bleed. There were a couple of moments where I laid the ink on really thick and it did bleed a little bit, but that's me. That's me. But I was really surprised while I was doing this how wonderful it felt to draw using the calligraphy ink and the dip pen. And I was surprised that it didn't bleed through to the other side. The only reason you can see it through the other side is because the paper is so thin and not because the ink is bleeding through to the other side. So I just spent a little while swatching different mediums, some pencils as well. I really like the way Prismacolor pencils feel on this paper. And also here using a little grey lead. So you notice I wrote the word florilegium in the front of this sketchbook. And I do that because florilegium is the kind of the act of collecting rare flowers, rare specimens. And to me that symbolizes like an everything book. So my sketchbook is a collection of all my brain flowers, all my thoughts and feelings and experiments and trials and errors and all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to show you these two journals here. I call them my everything books, and I've recently learnt that people call these kind of books commonplace books, and they were used by all sorts of different figures in history, notably Oscar Wilde, Michelangelo, tons and tons of people who use them. I didn't actually realize it was a thing until I stumbled across it on YouTube, but it's basically a book where you dump down all these things that you think are interesting, quotes, lines from movies, poetry, and just like brain thoughts, kind of journalistic stuff. It's a way to process what's going on in your head, similar to a journal, but it also is mixed with a bunch of quotes and nice things that you come across in your life that you want to remember. And some people index them, they catalog them, but I just sort of put them out randomly. Whatever page I'm on, I'll just write my little quote or whatever sticks out. So in the past, I've predominantly like written in the books rather than drawn pictures, but I would love to somehow combine the two. These everything books are very private. They're full of like all my deepest thoughts, feelings, memories, and all that kind of stuff. So I am reluctant to make my new sketchbook also my everything book, but I would like to do it to an extent while also having this everything book separate for my own personal reasons, for my own personal thoughts and feelings and memories. Yeah. Over the years, I've loved keeping my everything book. It's been incredibly helpful in so many ways. It's given me a space to think more deeply, to like deep dive into certain thoughts and feelings and why this is happening and why I jump to this feeling when this happens. And it's a really good library of ideas, so stuff that I've come across on the internet or in movies or in books or posters, whatever's going on. I throw it in there, stuff that inspires me or interests me or tickles my brain in an interesting way. And it's been nice to be able to go back and pick out little ideas, little stories, little beginnings of stories, and make something with them. Plus, they're completely private, like you don't have to show anyone, and it means that you can really just write with your heart over your head. You don't have to, be wary of showing anyone anything like this. So I think my new onion skin journal is going to have elements of my everyday book. But I guess that's kind of what a sketchbook is anyway, isn't it? It's a bit of your everyday thoughts and feelings and little scribbles of ideas blossoming. But yeah, I would like to incorporate more words and more quotes and more things like that I come across. Also, these days, I feel like I've been allowing myself to think more in symbols and colors and pictures rather than words and stuff like I used to do years ago. That was always really difficult for me. So throwing down color palettes, throwing down shape ideas and movement and stuff in my sketchbook, in my Onion Skin journal, is going to be my version of an everyday book in a way, but in more of an abstract form rather than words, rather than articulate sentences and stuff. And I love the transparent quality of this sketchbook so much, and I really am looking forward to exploring the relationship between pages and the layers of pages, and letting that spark and inspire me in different ways. I actually started doing the pages double-sided, but it got a little bit too messy, a bit too over the top for my brain, so I've started only working on the right-hand side every time. But you're still seeing these really nice relationships forming between previous and past pages colliding. And yeah, I really like that. Even if I'm not doing a whole spread, it kind of still works. It's really nice. And sometimes I might go over both spreads, especially when it's just colors and swatching and stuff. But yeah, it's really exciting. I'm really excited by this journal. I love picking it up. I love the way it sounds. I love that crinkle crunch clickety clack of the paper. I love how well it holds color. It feels really nice to draw in with pencil and brush pens and pen and ink. I'm finding myself picking it up and drawing and playing and doodling in it more than I did with my previous sketchbook, which blows my mind a little bit, because when I first opened this book I was like, this is going to be my private little book that I'm not going to show the world. But I'm so excited to draw in it and play in it that I kind of want to show you guys. So yeah, thank you to my friends at Onion Skin Journal. I am absolutely in love with this sketchbook. And it's definitely worth having a go, having a play if you're interested in something like this. Check the link below. I'll tag them there for you. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all those good and grand things. And of course, a great big thank you to my patrons. I love you always. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Okay, tooroo.